Let's just start from just continuing what we said on Saturday, right? And that was, even though we're seeing a correction occur and we wanted this right here, at least, right? What we have to acknowledge too is the fact that this is struggling to actually reach up there, right? You can easily see that just by applying the simple momentum rule here, where it's pretty much right. It's obviously you can see that, you know, this upside move is just taking so long and it's struggling to actually go up there. And like we said on Saturday, it's like you got to look at it from a workout perspective. You got to look at it from an effort standpoint, and that is just look at how long and how hard this is trying to keep going up, that eventually it's going to become unstable to the point where pretty much it's not going to be able to sustain itself, and you're going to see it start to roll over again. And these moves are honestly very, very slow, and it's going to give you a ton of opportunity to get into. um like for example today, I think, was it today? Yeah, we bottomed out on EU today, but we actually had topped out on DXY the previous day. And when you correlate both of them, right, just looking at what happened pretty much from market open, which was Sunday the 29th, right, just off the bat, what you notice happened yesterday, where is this, right? So this is our point of liquidity. It's a point of reference, right? Not necessarily a target, because we already acknowledged the fact that it's taking so much effort for it to come up there. So more so, I'd like to see what happens after this is taken out. Either when it comes to a scenario like this, right? Let's say you have a high here. You're either going to see the high taken out, or you're going to see the high taken but instantly come back, and that's what we call a liquidity grab. And essentially that's what happened here. Right, we go into H1, right? Off the bat, this is looking like a schematic to me. Not the prettiest, but just looking at the characteristics behind it, let's actually put it up here for reference. Right, off the bat, you see, right, preliminary supply, buying climax, secondary test, right, automatic rally, and then you see an SOW before the upthrust, which is actually did, I think, yeah, which it, well, actually, not really, actually did the SOW after the upthrust here. And as you can see, we created an SOW, which pretty much took out the liquidity to the downside. But what we have to acknowledge here is look at the reaction after this previous low is taken, right? We see that this is pretty, I don't want to say it's slow. I would just call it normal. But as soon as we take those lows out, right, instantly you see a very bullish reaction. So I'm not going to try to play this, because look at how impulsive this reaction was. And not only that, look at this being a pretty much a 95% retracement there. So as you can see, that reaction was only a pullback to then take out the previous high. And from what we can see now, right, our buying climax, preliminary supply, automatic rally, call it an upthrust. You can consider anything here in a secondary test, and we have an SOW, but technically I just call that I consider that just a type of liquidity grab to the downside, right? We came back, 90% retracement, right? We pulled back, then we took that out, and now this is our UTAD, right? Our UTAD then reacted, created an SOW, which took out previous structure, right? So only after that is an LPS, which is what happened here. And I didn't even have the chance to look back to see what that mitigated, which was during London, which is pretty annoying, because the best entry happened before, which isn't a bad thing. But let me tell you guys this. We got the main reaction, you know, right before overlap, 6:30 a.m. for CST. And if we look back here, let's see if we can actually find something. You see that M1? You do this, and I'm gonna reference both. You're gonna see what I mean. Or I'm gonna reference the 50% of the body, but I'm also gonna reference the entire candle just in case for the people that don't have seconds time frame. Right, and then from there, as you can see, technically based off of this, the stop loss is right above that, but we got a perfect reaction. And what's good to notice here is that we got an automatic reaction, and that broke structure here and that broke structure there. So coming into the the New York Open, this actually gave us the opportunity to get in, which was here at this inefficiency fill. I'm pretty sure that would be M2. Yeah, M2 inefficiency fill there, and from there that's the big fall. And it's not necessarily the worst thing for it to top out right before overlap, because remember what I tell you guys, it's you acknowledge the fact that this happened and that this happened because of it. That's you reading the narrative that this is changing direction. So now it's all about just catching a reentry, right? And unfortunately from there it just died. It didn't really give them a second reaction, not even during overlap itself, but from there it just melted. And I think this was this morning's price action, and pretty much the equivalent on EU. As we said, look at how much effort this is taking for it to pretty much pull back. So now it's just a matter of holding this, or not holding this, or having this being held in order to give us a rejection to get to the upside. And when you're looking at this from an intraday standpoint, right, we had equal lows, right? Those equal lows were purged, and I didn't acknowledge the fact that we actually had a very small inefficiency here. The inefficiency would have been right there, and that was instantly filled. I don't even acknowledge this, to be honest, but from there, right, we now just took equal lows out. We now rejected the H4 H2 inefficiency. We now broke structure, right, with a very impulsive reaction, right? So all this pullback is a pretty much retracement to take that to the upside. So I believe, I forgot which time frame this was. Well, for one, this is your M3 inefficiency fill here, right? Stop loss could have been under that previous candle. And then M2, same thing. Right, same thing. The inefficiency play would have been it there. And even if you miss that, you get a bullish reaction, takes out previous high there, which would be on the second time frame. And as you can see, there's a bunch of rejection. It's taking so much effort for these 3 candles to come down, so it becomes unstable and it creates a bullish reaction. So typically just pay attention to the wicks, right? Like same thing from the daily time frame. Pay attention to the wicks. Look at how much this is struggling, right? Same things that are applied on daily are applied on M1. Right, so look at how much effort this is taking to come down. That means it's not going to be able to sustain itself. So from there, we just launched, and from there, I'm pretty sure we got like 60 pips from that. I believe it was a very good move, honestly, more. And this is honestly looking like it wants to continue too. Yeah, it was a total of, for the session, it was a total of 80 pips. Right, your target would have been previous high, so that would have been a total of 77 pips. Based off the reaction, been like a 3 to 4 pip stop if you would have got the the second entry here, and that would probably been like a 20 to 1, which is solid for 3-4 hours of being on the chart. And now that we had this occur, we have now broken structure to the upside, broken this previous high, we broke that previous high. And based off of the reaction here, honestly, we're probably not even going to get, we're not going to get a good discounted pricing. We might get equilibrium at best. I don't see this going down here just because it wouldn't make sense for the next overlap session to pretty much give us that retracement down. If anything, I just want to get a decent pullback for London to then get New York volatility to the upside. So honestly, I don't even see that. I don't even see this retracing deeper than this if it even reaches that far. For all we know, this can easily just take out here, give a pullback during London, or I mean not during London, during overlap, and then you take that to the moon. But I mean, you guys know I've been bullish on this forever, so it's pretty much now it's just about finding every excuse to buy from a swing and intraday standpoint, right? So that was actually a very nice play. All right, happened right before overlap, but you still could have caught a decent move. GU even outdid that, and pretty much here, I kind of messed up on this yesterday. Let me show you guys Tuesday's move. So we had approached overlap. Right, so during London, we pretty much had a very fat range. Right, London Open is right around here. So playing based off of that range, off the bat, I'm acknowledging that this is a very steep retracement to this high, right? And even though we had a very bearish reaction, structure has maintained to the upside. What the hell? Hopefully you guys didn't hear that. But after that, we got a reaction and now created a higher low, created more higher lows. Not even took out, but just pretty much is showing me signs that this wants to go higher, right? And pretty much what I wanted was too optimistic, and I wanted that, and I wanted these equal lows to be cleared. So unfortunately, I didn't even get to reach that, but in reality, the play here was this inefficiency play. That would have been it there. Right, look at this. Actually, hold on. Right, inefficiency tap there. And then from there, just pretty much moon. So unfortunately, I didn't catch this, but this outdid EU big time. If you would have gotten an entry there, I think this gave over 200 pips. Yeah, over 200 pips here. So that's a incredible move in 2 days, over 200 pips, and this is going to continue. You know, looking at daily structure, I really wanted to see what would happen here because I wanted to see if this previous low was going to hold itself, right? So when we're looking at structure, right, this previous high was taken here, this is now a solidified low. So this actually returned to discount, right? So anywhere here would have been a decent excuse to buy this. So honestly, now I'm just waiting for a retracement, any type of retracement, because this is gonna pop off and will easily take out this high here. And what we need to acknowledge too here is that if we take out this high convincingly, we've pretty much set a bias for the next couple months, because look at how this has been moving. This has been a bearish market since the whole Brexit stuff started, since 07. So if we break that previous high convincingly, we have now had a BOS on a weekly time frame, right? And we've now taken out two previous equal lows. So you could even see this as a pre-supply buying climax, secondary test in phase A, and then secondary test, whatever, and then a spring here. And then now this is showing optimism. So now any pullback from there is going to be a ridiculous swing, because this would be your LPS. And this is playing out very, very nicely. Right? So an LPS here would then be able to target that. But since we're looking at a very big schematic, we're looking at a fat move. We're looking at gold type of move. We're looking at something like this. Does that make sense? Because we're playing this off of the monthly time frame, and we have an accumulation on the monthly time frame, you're gonna see a ridiculous move. Like if I see gold taking out 1900 by the end of the year, easy by the end of the year, So it's just a matter of being patient and just letting it play out, because this is now creating a bias for the next couple years. Does that make sense? Just like gold did. This took, I think, 6 years, April 13th to about 2018. So that's 6 years for this to fully accumulate to then give a reaction like this. So imagine you don't even have to hold a position from here and then here. You now have a bias solidified. So all you have to do is play swings based off of that bias, right? Because you acknowledging the accumulation is reading the narrative, and now you're building a bullish bias based off of that. So you're only finding reasons to execute. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Guess we're sitting here all night till somebody says something. Exactly.
For sure.
So once we have that solidified, we now have a fat move to play. And not only that, notice that this accumulation, right, is taking some time, but it's bringing in a ton of volume, right? So this doesn't necessarily mean something in terms of direction, but it means something in terms of how much money's in play. And once this is fully shifted from a quote unquote selling market to buying market, this is going to explode big time, right? And naturally, that's also going to happen if this finally dies. If this finally dies, naturally, because the dollar is the most strongest currency in the world, naturally you're going to see emerging markets start to blow up, right? Because this our currency is going to start devaluing. Oh, Mike, well, you guys are from Europe, so I just mean, you guys know what I mean by our currency. But our currency is now devaluing itself, meaning that any other currency in opposed to that is going to start increasing. So that pretty much creates the bias for the next couple months, right? And now you have every excuse to pretty much play with that bias, because if you notice, for the past, honestly, since like the beginning of 2019, we've just been in an uncertain range, and we've honestly not even been able to fully experience, swings that are actually playing that monthly bias. And once you do, you're gonna see crazy moves just come out of nowhere, right? Perfect example is like this move here. Once we finally see moves start to pop off, this is going to be the norm. This isn't going to be just a rare occurrence. This is going to be the normal activity that you're going to see in the market, because there's so much money being pumped in, and eventually it's going to choose a direction, right? So pretty much that's that for EU and GU. So do you guys have any questions? Does that all make sense? All right, cool. So that's a little rant for today. Pretty much 20-minute rant, but there is something I do want to talk about. Let me pull up something on my phone. And it pretty much falls back to the first question I want to ask is like, do you guys really, really understand why I tell you to stay away from Telegram groups, to stay away from, a bunch of Instagram, Twitter, just nonsense BS that you see going around? Like, give me every reason you can think of. Either say it or type it. I don't care. Just tell me exactly why. Like, every aspect that you can think of.
Because you really shouldn't trust anyone's bias but your own.
Don't think about trading. Think about as a whole. Because I'm trying to speak in terms of principle, not in terms of something specific.
I could touch on when I took a break from social media for a month. When I did that, I learned more about myself and like how I work and what works best for me. And without all the distractions, like trying to keep up with everybody and like seeing what everybody else is up to, it gives you the opportunity to just like focus on yourself and what you need to get done for you.
Exactly. And there's also this is actually a just a generalized topic, and it doesn't affect everybody. Overwhelming, yes. Waste of time, yes. Stop comparing yourself, yes. Where's my mouse? Too much going on, yes. Ruins your mental state, yes. Noise distracting, yes. So all of that is right. But what I'm getting at here is that something a lot of people don't understand is that anything and everything from social media can be faked. Everything can be just straight up faked. And something a lot of people don't acknowledge is the fact that diction plays such a big role in social media. Do you guys understand what I mean by diction?
Yes.
All right, what do you guys understand by what diction means?
The way they use their words.
Exactly. So let me put something for reference, and just this is like a simple example. It's the only example I can think on the top of my mind, but it's like either saying I trade forex, right, or I invest in the foreign exchange market. So which one sounds better? You're gonna take me seriously if I say the second one, right? Well, that same concept applies to any single thing in life, right? The way that somebody says something, right, can manipulate your state of mind and your opinion to not believe what they're wanting to say, and that goes against pretty much everything that you're thinking about, and you're now thinking that, oh, maybe, like, well, for me, I'm talking for me, so I'm pretty much thinking like, oh, this guy is really smart, I'm actually going to listen to him, see what's going on, which isn't the case every single time, right? Just because somebody sounds smart doesn't mean they are smart, right? So we tend to pretty much get in a state where social media starts to influence everything about your life, and that's extremely unhealthy, like extremely unhealthy. And then you just become easily misled, and then that's how you get scammed, that's how you get your feelings hurt, that's how you start arguments. So it's just best to stay the fuck away from that. Stay the fuck away from everybody, because I think a member today, he messaged me about this guy. His name is Shab, I think, something like that. I think he's like a 7-figure trader or something. But it's like, look, he claims to make 7 figures, cool. He can show me that he makes 7 figures, cool. At the end of the day, why and how the fuck does that matter to me? Exactly. That's exactly why I refuse to download TikTok too. TikTok is fucking ridiculous. I think it's retarded. Chinese government's looking for you. Fuck that. I'm not fucking with that. But what I'm getting at is like, look, social media is just extremely toxic to me, straight up. And if RCV wasn't run based off Instagram, I would be off Instagram, because fuck that. It's like today I unfollowed like 40 people, 50 people, just because it's like, look, you have no association to my life, you aren't in my RCV group, and you bring no type of value to my life, so why do I want you here? The less accounts that I follow, the better, the less content, the less distraction. And it all falls down to pretty much staying in your lane, right? Let me ask you this. I know everybody, there's no way somebody in here does not drive or has never driven in their lives. I do not believe that. And if you have, honestly, I don't even know what to tell you. But let's say you're driving, right? And there's a car next to you, and you are both, you guys are both sober. You guys aren't texting and driving, both hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, right? What are the chances of you getting into an accident, an altercation? What are the odds? Not none. You never know. There could be like some rock on the road that you didn't see, and you can get something. But it's small. Yeah, exactly. It's minimal. It will more than likely never happen, unless you're incredibly unlucky and God forbid. But what happens if the driver is texting and driving? What happens if the driver is trying to race you? What happens if they're trying to cut you off because they're in a rush? Right? Now what happens to the chances of you getting in an accident? Exactly. It exponentially goes up. So compare that to pretty much staying in your own lane in Instagram or just on social media, right? There could be group 1 and then there could be group 2, right? Group 2 will pretty much start coming at group 1, and guess why that is, right? They're clout chasing, they're egotistical, right? They're seeking approval, right? And they're all negative reasons. So whenever somebody tries to come at me, I know it's one of those couple reasons. So I'm not gonna, entertain it because there's no point. I already know I've won, right? And it's not even about winning. It's about, minding your own business, right? So I say that to everybody who's reading this, or not reading this, but listening to this. It's like, stay in your own lane. Do not focus on others. At the end of the day, me focusing on others is not going to pay my bills. It's not going to pay my tuition. It's not going to pay my car, right? It's not going to pay anything in my life. It's only going to bring negativity, and it's only going to bring bad vibes into my life, right? And I think I've made that pretty clear with you guys. I've like countless times I've spoken on, trying to get you guys to get off of these Telegram groups, to get off of everything. And you learn to appreciate more. You start to catch on. You start to see things that you didn't see before. You start to appreciate. And that falls back to other topics that I've talked about. And so you see how it all connects. Exactly. Comparing yourself makes yourself jealous, right? And it's okay. It's okay to feel like that sometimes. But the fact that you acknowledge it makes you, or pretty much takes you to the next step that honestly 90% of people can't do. Whoever was talking about finding yourself because you're not catching up with everybody else is spot on. I like that. Who said that? Where did you post that? Did you post it on Discord? How much is a premium? I think it's 30% off for the first package, 40% off for the second package, and 50% for the biggest package or something. It's like something like that. I think the biggest is like 60%. So it's honestly a steal. Where was that? What time was that?
Fredo, bro, I literally just said it on this call.
Oh, you just talked to. Oh, okay. My bad. But yeah, can you just type it out so I can put it on here, and then people that see this afterwards can see it.
You want me to type it on Discord or
No,
in
just type it on
the
here
comment?
on the chat.
Okay.
That's a clean little quote. I like that. That's corny. Try to dopamine detox. Muted all my notifications. Felt great. Yeah, bro. You just notice little things. You start to notice little things, and it makes a big change. Yeah, bro. To be honest, I have most of my notifications off during the day. But it was boring. Fuck yes. Hey, oh, actually, has Sergio talked about his dopamine detox? He hasn't even told me about it. Fucking asshole. Is he on? Is still on the call? Yeah, I wanna actually. I'm curious. I don't know. I don't remember if Sergio told me, but I actually want to know how that went. Cause his girlfriend told me that he was like straight up bored. You can talk about it again. Just like summarize it, and then we can end the call there. Any day, Sergio.
Yo, I mean, I talked about it on Discord, but anyways, I mean, in the beginning, it wasn't that hard because I was answering those questions. I dropped it on the chat, like the questions that that pretty much it's like how do you feel, like what pain do you feel, is it physical, is it mental, and then from there, I answered like the next questions. I have like my journal, but from there, as the day goes on, it does get kind of boring. But like I said before, right, just go out, walk around, and I mean that's pretty much it. I couldn't even read because that's also like considered what's the word? That's also considered like pleasure or some shit like that. But and I only ate breakfast and dinner, so I didn't even do it fully. Like the next time I do it, I'm not gonna eat. I'm only gonna drink water. And yeah, that's like that's the next step that I want to do. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like it does clear your mind up, and the main purpose, like what I've seen, is that it makes you do things. Well, it gives you the power to do things that you don't want to do the next day, right? So and it could be small shit. Like for example, some people don't want to wash their dishes right after they eat, and that's one thing, right? That like just wash your dish right after you eat, some shit like that, right? Or I don't know, like mow the lawn or something, right? It just gives you that mindset to just do, because a lot of people procrastinate, and they procrastinate about simple stuff, and so that's like the main thing, or one of the topics, or one of the key points that this helps, that the dopamine detox helps with. But yeah, that's my take on that. I don't know if who else did a dopamine detox. I know Evan. He's been away from social for a minute. I don't know if he wants to talk about that, because I had a good FaceTime with him. But yeah.
Yeah, I know Evan did it, and then also Abraham did it too. I don't know if they want to talk about it though.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Oh, you can go.
This is Evan, but honestly, like I think I saw someone posting about like a dopamine detox like quite a while ago, so I did like some more research into it because I heard about it before, and it's pretty much just like getting off of, like Sergio was saying. I didn't do it to that extent to where like I was only eating like breakfast and stuff like that, but it just like inspired me to get off social media just because I really like audited myself, and I was just noticing like how much time I was spending just on social media. And I was actually talking to Fredo too. Like I cut my screen time from like 7 hours a day because I was just trying to post like content and stuff like that. And my screen time nowadays is like 3 hours a day, and I'm even trying to get it down to like 2.5 hours. But like I've even noticed like what filled up my time like from social media, I've like filled up with like other positive habits. Like I turn off my phone at like 10 p.m. like strictly, and I'm like head on pillow at like 10:30, and like I'm reading or listening to like something like motivational like in the mornings. Like my morning routine's like on point, and that just like carries me through the whole day. But what started as like the dopamine detox really just kind of like inspired me just to kind of like stay off Instagram. And I was even telling Sergio, like I got back on Instagram like super briefly on a Sunday. It was like in the middle like of all like this hatred and stuff like that, and I was like just kind of like coming back to that. I was like, I'm actually just gonna see like how far I can go just being off social media. And it's pretty funny, like I've noticed like when I hang out with my family, I'm a lot like more present. Or like when I hang out with my friends, like I'm actually like there, like in the moment. Or like just driving my car, like I'm driving my car. I don't have to worry about like who's messaging me or who's liked my photos or anything like that. And like now I'm just like trying to like find like other habits. It's kind of like inspired me to find like better like eating habits, better sleeping habits, things like that. But like I do kind of want to take it to this extent where maybe I just take like 2 or 3 days uh, and just don't do anything and just like go out to the mountains, just like with no cell service or anything. Just get away from everyone. It's I honestly like encourage like anybody in this group who just kind of like feels overwhelmed, like just take a week off from social media and just like practice just like being in the moment. It's like it's honestly helped quite a bit with my trading.
Lit, bro. Thank you. And I'm finally done with summer classes, so I'll finally like start not, trying to not ignore your text, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good, bro. I know you're on your grind. Like
Yeah,
every time
bro.
I text you, like I'm
Yeah, hit
busy.
me up tomorrow. Hit me up
That's all
tomorrow
good.
for sure. I just finished all my
Yeah, let's go.
classes today. But I mean, I don't know if Abraham wants to talk too, and then after that we can conclude the call there.
I was just gonna say, like, I just started recently too, so like it was maybe like 2 hours because I didn't think I could do more than that. But like, I really like the fact that I stopped checking my phone to see who's messaging me, who's doing this, like, because I really pick up my phone every like 3, 4 minutes. But like after that, I just kind of started thinking more about life and everything. And then I started reading more about dopamine detoxes after that, right? And like the kind of like the science behind it. And so like I went forward to turn off all my notifications because like I didn't want to check my Snapchat every 5 minutes, check my Instagram every 5 minutes. And I realized like if I at least like, start slowly by turning off my notifications, I'm less inclined to go on all that. And so like it's just been easier for me to study or easier for me to do other things nowadays.
Lit, bro. Lit. Honestly, once I get out of school, I'm gonna be all in that. Like I'm gonna get the fuck away from social media. Depending on when we decide to like just stop letting people in, or I'll probably just start doing that. To be honest, I don't like being on my phone. It used to be really bad. Like I'll admit to it because I was pretty much on my. I'd have like a fucking like a 12 to 13 hour screen time per week. I had that for months, and I had to stop that. Whether I was either looking at charts, looking at Instagram, I was just not doing productive shit with my life, and that's how I gained weight. It was around the time when I was hurt, so that changed, and look at us now, you know. But yeah, guys, other than that, I think we're good for today. Thank you guys for sharing. Um, let me know if you need anything. And I know I didn't finish the journals, and that was because I had to do this stupid final exam today that took me 2 hours to complete, and I was just brain dead after that. So I'm gonna do them tomorrow for sure. Um, but yeah, guys, I'll see y'all later.